Hey, this is Matt Urtz, the Madison County historian. We are still working to document how the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted different places, people, things, businesses, and organizations. And we are today going to talk to the two commissioners of the Madison County Board of Elections, the Democratic Commissioner Laura Costello and the Republican Commissioner Mary Egger. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
So for those that aren't familiar, can you guys kind of explain what the role of Board of Elections is?
Yeah. Go ahead, Laura.
So we not only run the elections in Madison County, we assist candidates in getting on the ballot with the procedures and petitioning and caucuses. We have the registration files that we keep up to date and registering people. What else, Mary?
Getting petitions, assisting with anything that has to do with absentees, elections, sometimes school elections, fire districts, just any questions, voter outreach, anything we can do.
So when did you guys start to hear from the state about COVID-19 and when did it kind of appear on your radar?
Early March. March 2nd was the first executive order that we received, saying that we were not going to be able to go into nursing homes.
Okay. And
then it kind of exploded from there. And just like everybody else, I think, in the world, we were getting direction and all of our information through the press and getting the executive orders and how our lives were going to change. But yes, March 2nd was our first executive order that affected us.
So did you guys have a lot of communication with the state, or was it a lot of different groups we've talked to have basically said, we found out during his press conferences that this was happening, and then we kind of had to wait until we actually got the wording to know what to do?
Well, I think the state board was getting the same information we were from the executive orders. So we were just, at that point, the county building had closed down. So we were working from home and just coming into work to deal with mail. So we were just watching the governor every day. And once he came out with an order that affected elections, I think the state board responded pretty quickly to letting us know how to deal with it, but we were just all getting the information at the same time.
Yeah.
So talk about that. So we did have a delay in our primary and there was other elections going on. I think there was a village mayor election. So talk about that process. You guys kind of find out, how do you adapt on the fly?
Well, for the March village elections, it was tricky because the election was canceled 2 days before we were prepared to have it. So the absentees were out, our ballots were set, our machines were tested and sealed. It was very last minute.
We were waiting for deployment. That was it.
Right. But I think that kind of set the tone for how the rest of the year was going to go. We just didn't know what to expect every day and just dealt with it as it came.
So when all this is rescheduled, which was in June, talk about that process in the sense of, was there a worry it's going to get canceled again? Was there any fears that, we had our own little few outbreaks, but we were kind of separate from New York and New York City, I should say. New York City was in a little more trouble, so they might have been getting different information than you guys were.
I think we were all on the same page, and the state board was definitely involved in giving us direction as much as possible, but it was a day-by-day thing for a while, and it was just like, okay, so we have to go with what we have today. And it's the same thing with November. It's like we're looking ahead at that now, saying, okay, we have to go with the information that we have now. We can't foresee what's going to explode in the next few months or not. So we have to kind of go with what we have today.
Well, and at one point, the presidential primary was canceled
Right.
So, you know, we had all the ballots out and absentee voting had started, and then they had canceled that. And then a court case came along, and a week later it was back. So really, we just rolled with the punches. I think everything went well. It was hard getting the cleaning supplies that we wanted for our primary, but we came up with everything and it went very well, and we'll use the same procedures in November.
Typically, the folks that work at the elections tend to be older. Did you have any issues with folks not wanting to do it and maybe not being able to staff as much as you'd like?
I don't think that we had a problem. There were definitely people that were questioning and asking about the procedures and very nervous. And there were some that chose not to work, which is fine. But I think that we, again, kind of switched gears a little bit and said, we've got some kids that are out of school. Let's see if we can tap into that. We looked at, you know, just a lot of different ways to reach out to our inspectors and say, how comfortable are you with this? And getting the procedures out to them to say, okay, this is what we're looking at. We're not just going to throw you out there and you know,
well, and we did consolidate poll sites. So
Mm-hmm.
we only used about half as many inspectors as we normally would. But in that case, we were able to staff just fine. Plus we had the absentee voting, so that cut down the crowds at the poll sites.
Did you have a significant increase in the absentee voting?
No,
It was probably half of our voter count was absentee, and the other half had shown up on election day or early voting.
Okay. You referenced you guys are starting to prep for the presidential election. Are you anticipating something similar where you have a significant higher volume of absentee ballots?
Well, at this point in time, the governor has not allowed COVID as a reason for absentee.
Okay.
So again, we're kind of in a waiting area to say, you know, whether that's going to change the volumes of. We do still have a lot of absentees that we're mailed out that asked for the general election along with the primary, and they're not eligible. So we are looking at that and how to deal with that moving forward. So we're going to have to send out notifications to the people that are anticipating a ballot and may not be eligible because of COVID. So it's kind of a waiting game again as far as that's concerned.
And I have to ask, because it has been a topical mind issue, what is the difference between absentee and mail-in voting?
Well, we don't have mail-in voting.
Okay. Oh, see,
Mail-in voting.
That's one of those things that comes up is it's been talked about a lot by a lot of different people, and there is a lot of confusion. So we don't even have that option in Madison County then.
Well, so mail-in voting would be if everyone automatically got a ballot, if we just sent ballots to everybody.
Okay.
That is not going to happen in New York State. People actually have to apply. So they have to either fill out an application and send it in. For the primary, they had opened that up a little bit, that they could email a request, fax a request, they could call us. That is not effective for November's election at this time. But we do hope that the governor does come up with an executive order and lets us open up absentees again, saying it's, you know, the excuse would be the fear of COVID-19. But for the primary, we mailed out applications to everybody. That is not happening now. So, you know, once again, we just wait and see what we're told to do.
Does absentee make your life harder in the sense of, does it give you a lot more work?
Well, I think we truly understand the need for it. Okay. So we were able to handle it for the primary without too much trouble. If we do it for November, we will probably have to get some extra help in. because the voting will be so much higher. But we totally understand the need for it, and we'll do whatever we have to do to make it work.
It's costly though, Matt. It's very costly.
And
So
does that money come from anywhere, or is that just, it's got to magically appear from our budget?
we were definitely fortunate that there was a COVID-19 grant that came out very quickly. It will end, we've already spent it because of postage and envelopes and applications and prepaid postage. So we definitely have spent it. So I don't know if, again, the governor will come up with another grant or not, but it's costly.
And especially in theory, you would have significantly higher volume of people making that request with this.
Yes.
Is there anything we haven't touched upon?
Our March elections are in September. Our June elections are in September. That's definitely, if we can get one person to hear that's important information for them.
What
Right, so
elections are you?
It's all the village elections.
All the village elections.
That we have not yet had this year.
Yeah, because we actually have mayors that are still working that should have been done with their role. Yeah.
Yes.
So what villages and towns does that impact?
Well, it's all of them. We
Okay.
run 6 of them, but it's going to be any of them.
Okay. And they're all having their elections then. What's the actual date in September?
15th.
Okay. So September 15th will be village elections.
Yes.
Is there anything else that we have forgotten?
For more information, always keep an eye on our website. We try to keep that up to date. There will be early voting for the November election for 9 days prior to the election. Those hours are posted on our website already.
And how will that work with the county? Do they have to make an appointment to do that?
Well, no, we had early voting for the primary.
Okay.
And no, people just show up. What else? I think, we're training inspectors now. We always need inspectors. If people want to work election day, give us a call or check our website, and we'd sign you up and train you to be an election inspector.
Okay. I'm sure that you will have a lot going on, but I hope to pester you again to do this maybe in early December after all the shenanigans have slowed down, to see how it went, what worked. And I mean, and like you guys said, we have no idea what's coming at that point in time, but it's such a unique situation, being that all the stuff that's already happened this year and it being a presidential election should make for a unique conversation.
Yes.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully we will talk soon, and you guys will be well rested, and everything will be kind of past.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye now.
Have a good day.